There he is, hard at work.
Hey, I'll tell you something.
What's
Um,
up, Dennis?
so how was the trip to New Orleans? How'd it go? Did
It
you
was
let the players leave
fantastic.
the bus first?
Yeah. No, we're good. We're hit up Bourbon Street, but as you get older, you're not tearing down Bourbon Street. You're not lighting Bourbon Street on fire. You're not staying up till 4 a.m. You go there, you walk up the street, you walk back down the street, you stop at Pat O'Brien's, you have a hurricane, and then you get in your car and go home. And that was pretty much the night. That was it.
Pam and I took a vacation to New Orleans just a couple of years ago, and with Pam's sister and her husband. And I was sitting in a restaurant in New Orleans and realized this is the first time I've been in public since the pandemic. And I'm sitting here with the crowd, and I go, Jesus, I've dropped my defenses suddenly just to be in New Orleans. We had a great time and avoided COVID, but it just dawned on me. I was so cautious during the whole lockdown period. And we went on vacation to New Orleans. Yay. But like you, I'm old enough that it wasn't, let's see if we can stay all night. And when I got up the next morning to go get Pam a latte, I stepped over bodies on Sunday morning.
Sure. Yes.
And I don't say that lightly. I stepped over bodies, live ones, I think. But
you think? Yeah, I mean, I was good. I got my hurricane. I got to see a couple people play their buckets. Everybody's playing their buckets, and you just throw them $1 or whatever, and it gets blown away. It's just your anyway. But all it is, it's like, right. So you go get your hurricanes. They have the knick-knack shops there where you can buy if you want to buy some stuff for everybody back home or whatever. Then you got your bars, of course, your like karaoke type places, and then pizza by the slice, and that's it. And it's like 3/4 of a mile. You walk down, and then you walk back, and like I'm done. When I went there for the Super Bowl, my first year at the radio station, I stayed up till 4 a.m. every single night. Like I was out there walking around, going to bars, drinking, and then I'd do it again the next night. I had no interest.
Next to a pool where you leaped chairs?
No, that was in college. That was another unfortunate. That was another unfortunate incident. Yeah, that didn't work out all that well for me. I should know that you can't stack chairs up and jump over them when it's wet. But I took the chairs out.
If somebody had a video of that, together, Tom. The stuff you did as a young man, and I hope that maybe
smart.
Your podcast listeners don't know the story of you getting elected to the All-Star game in a tournament because your buddies jumped into the voting
press row. They were at press row. They voted in the all tournament. Now I should have made it anyway, but
that's not what Steve Kerr said. Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr's lying.
Colbert.
Steve Kerr's lying.
And they looked over and saw 6 of your buddies, and it was some school had already left. Colbert.
Oh, it was hilarious because it was us, Duke, Michigan State, and Florida, and because it was either Michigan State or Florida, they took off because they weren't in the championship game. So yeah, like 4 or 5 of my buddies just went down to press row, sat at the table, sat at the Florida section, and then they handed out all tourney ballots, and they filled in my name.
Tolbert.
Yeah, I was in the game. We were playing Duke, right? And I remember looking over there, and they're sitting courtside. I go, "What the fuck you get? What are you doing?" They're just like laughing. I'm like, "Oh my god, this might go poor. This might go poorly." So I made the all tournament team though.
Yes, you did.
Oh, good stuff. All right, well, let's get to the games. Quackside Sports, Picks Football, picksfootball.com if you want to go check it out. And much like Dr. Bob, Dennis has free stuff on there. You can read through it, kind of get what his mindset is on certain games and which way he might be leaning on certain games. And then there's obviously the pay element. If you want to sign up, that's great as well. But I would suggest going there and reading some of the articles that Dennis writes. They're very, very informative. So on
And I'm
that
going to
note,
suggest buying the service because
yeah, I
that's where
bet you
people are
are.
making money. That is where people are making the money.
There's no doubt. No, and I know I've had your service now for a decade plus, whatever it is, and that's it right there. You got your NFL strategies, your headline play. Like if you wanted to find out about the Colts and the Titans this weekend, there's a little article right there by Dennis. You can read that. Sometimes it'll be a play, sometimes it won't. But yeah, the service has been doing very good this year. The Al Davis book, which I need to get into at some point. I've read back-to-back books. My brain's tired right now. I need to give it a break. So head to the website, pigsfootball.com. Well, there's one game I really like, but I'm going to save that for next because we just talked to Dr. Bob about the Niner game. Let's get your thoughts on the Niner game. And it's two different games. It's either Mac Jones or Brock Purdy. I was surprised Dr. Bob said that if Purdy plays, this could be a good bet up to 7. That sounds stiff to me, and I don't know if I'd want to take it that high, but I mean, he's the one that crunches all the numbers, and you crunch all the numbers. I'd be curious what your thoughts are on that. I kind of got a thought Purdy might play once the line started creeping up from 1.5 to 2, 2.5 to 3. We'll see. It'll be a game time decision, I'm sure. And I've said on the show this week, Dennis, that I thought the biggest key to the game is making sure you hem in Kyler Murray. Don't let him get to the outside. The Niners have not been good against running quarterbacks in the past. They've struggled against running quarterbacks. I'm not a Kyler Murray guy, but against the Niners, sometimes he gets loose and kind of does his thing. So how do you see this game and, with or without Brock Purdy?
Well, here's how I see it. The Niners are in trouble. They're in trouble. It's interesting. Last week, one of our plays was the Niners over the Saints, and yep. I got some of my clients call and said, "Do you know that Brock Purdy's out?" I love to say to them, "Oh, is he?
He is? Oh shit!
Oh, let me call all the clients.
What do they think you do? I mean, exactly. What do they think you do?
I think they know the answer to that, but they still want to say it. Do you know Brock Purdy's out? Do you know all the injuries? Kittle's not playing. They want to go through that. And I explained to them that that's why I have the Niners over the Saints, because we're taking a team that has to play on their toes, that knows they have to make up for. I built my motivation from a game in 1965 when I used to pick the games with my father. And that particular Saturday, the next day, the Minnesota Vikings were hosting the Baltimore Colts. And my dad said, "Oh, that's an easy one. Unitas is out, so the Vikings will kill him." And I agreed. And then the Vikings lost 41-21. Gary Quazzo threw 5 touchdowns against the Vikings. And my dad, who was a coach, said, "Oh, well, great game plan. Maybe this Quazzo's a good kid. Maybe it's something we don't know." And I was different. I was 15, so I figured I knew better. And so I said, wait a minute. What happens to teams that don't have their quarterbacks? What is their results? I spent the next week in the library going through microfiche to look up games where the quarterbacks were injured. And that team that needed to use the backup won the game more often than they lost. I wasn't even counting in point spreads. But I figured, okay, so what are we talking about here? We're talking about motivation. So, Mac Jones, okay, you can like him or not like him, but he's going to have, 21 other players playing on their toes to compensate for the loss of Purdy. And that's the advantage the Niners have. Now, I also noticed in further studies that once you win with a backup quarterback, then the motivation is gone and you still don't have the talent back. Then you're in trouble. And so the Niners are in trouble this week. Last week, they played the Saints, who were led by a quarterback who had never won an NFL game in 6 previous starts. Now they go from there to playing a Cardinals team who dominated them, quite frankly, for a number of years. And so, and now they're, this is a horrible spot for them. It could be worse And the way it could be worse if Purdy played, because if Purdy comes in, then the team has a motivational letdown. Oh, good, we got it. We got Purdy back. Then they're double screwed. So the Niners are either screwed or double screwed. In any case, I love the Arizona Cardinals this week over the Niners. I'm watching that spread go up to 3. When I saw it go to 3, I was thinking, yeah, they're thinking there's a chance Purdy could play. That's what that spread is reflecting. Purdy's not going to play. Purdy's not going to play. Shanahan and John are way too bright to risk this kid, with a turf toe, 7 days after the injury. That's not going to happen. They're too smart. They're too smart. So the idea that they say maybe Purdy plays, that's competitive edge. That's making the Cardinals prepare for it. He's not going to play.
So Cardinals sounds like it may be in the running for top play this week.
No,
gonna be close. Gonna be close. Okay, let me give you my
there it is. Yeah, I love it.
I don't like your I don't know that I love that one as much as you do, but I certainly agree with the logic on that one. Let me give you mine. And it's not a good team, which I have a feeling we've been doing this for so many years now. We talk about so many shitty teams on this segment that we like, and people are probably like, "Are these guys like high? Why do they like all these teams that are just that are terrible? Terrible
like the
football
Dolphins
team.
Last night, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna give you another bad football team that I like this week. I like the Browns getting 7.5 at home against the Packers. I went back and looked, and I remember we talked a couple weeks ago about the Bengals getting 7 yards in the second half against the Browns. They had 140 yards total in that game. So you go back and you look at the Ravens game, you think, oh, the Ravens slaughtered them. They killed them in the second half. The Ravens had 240 yards total in that game.
45 rushing, Tom. 45 rushing yards.
They have only given up 380 yards combined to two of the best offensive teams in the league. Baltimore may be the best. They're the handful. And then Cincinnati has always been more than just capable offensively. Their offense obviously has been lacking a little bit. I expect that. But at home, Green Bay, everybody's saying, oh, Green Bay's they're the best team in football right now. Look what they're doing. Guess who they got next week? The Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons' old team that I'm sure they're going to be up for that. He'll be up for that. I just have a feeling like this is one that the Browns might even win, but I think they're going to keep it within that 7.5, 8 points, whatever you get. Like that jumped out at me, Dennis. I was like, oh, okay, this one's calling my name. I already got that one in just so I didn't go down to 7. I don't know if it will, but I like the Browns. Who do you like?
Well, so have you ever been driving in your car and you've got cars on both sides of you, and then you see a pothole? You'd love to avoid it. You'd love to avoid that pothole, but there's chances on both sides to do it. That's what Green Bay's running into here. They see the pothole, but they got more important things on both sides of them that they're not gonna worry about this. Now, here's my concern about Cleveland. Given that they were so close statistically to Baltimore last week and yet lost 41-17, that tells me that a team knows how to lose in a lot of different ways. And so that's my concern on the game is, statistically they're there, but they're also 0-2. So, this team knows how to lose. This team knows how to lose. So that's a concern. I think it's the right side you've got, though. Yeah, I would be on the Brown side in this game.
Okay.
Just a standpoint of how high everybody is on the Packers. They're now the favorite, to win the NFC, to win the Super Bowl and all that. And so many rankings. I saw rankings come out. They got the Packers 1 and the Bills 3. And I guess they got Baltimore 2nd on the NFL.
Okay.
Network, and Packers 1. Okay. Yeah, they're there. But, let's make sure Love can take this team into the playoffs.
The one that I don't know that I'll take or not, Dennis, but certainly caught my attention was, are the Colts ready to be a 4.5 point favorite on the road against anybody? I know Daniel Jones has been playing some pretty good ball. They're 2-0 at home. The Dolphins' effort last night notwithstanding, I think that's a ship that's going to just take on more and more water as the season goes on. And yeah, I mean, 33-8, that's still impressive, but you beat the Broncos after getting a second chance. By the way, when did we start conservatively going for 60-yard field goals at the end of games? Like, well, yeah, hey, Steichen, how about trying to get 10 more yards instead of worrying about getting sacked?
That was the worst coaching decision
Unbelievable.
ever. They're moving the ball.
Yes.
It's not like Denver stopping them. They're moving the ball, and then I'm sitting there watching the game, going, no, don't set up a young kicker for a 60. Go get 15 more yards. This is crazy. You don't. And so then they set up, and of course, field goal's no good from 60.
Yep.
And I had a client call me right away and said, "What was the penalty?" And I said, "Me kicking the couch." I was pretty sure the penalty was called on me. And then, of course, that was our top pick last week, taking the team that won the game. Who was it that beat them?
Colts.
Yeah, the Colts.
They beat them 29-28.
Getting 1 point. And they ended up, so the 15 yards was given to them by the Broncos with a bonehead move. That's an obvious call. You can't leap over the center. They don't miss that call, so it was a horrible decision on the defender from the Broncos. But that was the 15 yards we wanted. That was the 15 yards the coach should have been getting offensively.
Exactly.
Fortunately, getting it from the Denver defense.
Yeah, that was just I couldn't believe it watching that game. I was like, we're just gonna settle for a 60-yarder. Like like maybe if you have Brandon Aubrey on your team, but even then, it's still
you still want to move
yards.
Closer. They're making 60 yards, but that's not the come on.
Oh yeah, that was insane. So anyway, to this week's game. How do you break this one down? Because I know, look, Tennessee hasn't looked good in either game. Ward's got a ways to go. There's no doubt about it. But I still like the Colts. That didn't roll off the tongue right. Colts 4.5-point road favorite, divisional road favorite, mind you. Like I kind of want to take Tennessee on principle, but I don't know. How do you see that one?
Daniel Jones is a first-class human being. Here he was the first-round draft choice, sixth player taken overall in the 2019 draft by the New York Giants. And he had some good times in New York. He had some bad times in New York. And finally, mid-season last year, they went, "We're done with him. We're moving on." And so the Giants actually released him as a favor to him.
Yeah,
because they like Jones. He's a first-class human being, and so they released him early because they knew he wasn't in their plans. So rather than just having that show up in March, they gave him a chance to catch on with another team, and he did. He caught on with the Minnesota Vikings. Well, here the Vikings had Sam Darnold playing, and the Vikings just picked up Daniel Jones as a backup in case Darnold got hurt. He didn't, and so do we have a lesson here that Sam Darnold had failed with his first three teams, goes to Minnesota, finds the right situation, wins 15 games. Could Daniel Jones have found the right spot here? He goes to Indianapolis. He gets into competition with Anthony Richardson, and Anthony Richardson gets beat out, and Anthony Richardson, of course, was Jim Irsay's favorite, and Irsay died last spring. So that took the rug out from Richardson and turned the coaching back over to Sean to coach the team, which was a good thing for him. And so now we've got Jones playing great. He scored on every possession against the Dolphins in the opener, and the first three possessions against Denver, and I think could have got him closer for field goal range if they would have allowed him to last week, and did win the game. Super. And goodbye. This is where the trap door opens. Tennessee's 0-2. Tennessee's 0-2. And they lost their opener to Denver in a game that stayed inside the spread. And last week when they played Tennessee played the Rams. Well, the Rams may
Yep.
be the team in football, and so, okay, they lose to the Rams. Now they're at home the second straight week. And suddenly they're not expecting anything from Tennessee. There's no hype around Tennessee. There's no, oh, word's the answer. There's perfect motivation. Perfect motivation. Love Tennessee in this spot. Love Tennessee.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad. Let me ask you one more, and then I'll let you get to a game you like. This one I don't have a feel for. This is just one of those games you look at the line and say, that just doesn't seem right. Why is this team not favored by more, or why is this team even favored? Maybe someone's trying to tell me something. When I saw the Cowboys, who haven't been great, by the way, they were good in Philly. Could have won the game if CeeDee Lamb catches a couple of those balls. Could have lost at home against the Giants. Found a way to win. Now they go on the road to Chicago and they're a pick 'em. And I thought, well, they've been awful. They're a pick. The Cowboys should at least be a point, 2 points favorite, which I think they are now, 1.5. But it's still like, I was like, you know what? I should take the Bears just because that line doesn't make any sense to me. How do you see this one? Because the Bears, I mean, we know what happened last week. They got absolutely embarrassed by the Lions. And the Cowboys have looked offensively really good so far. But boy, that's the one thing that scares me, Dennis. When you look good offensively and then you got to go on the road and your defense has been equally bad. I think I might want to take the Bears here, but how do you see this one?
Yeah, I wouldn't take a bad defense on the road by rule, and the Cowboys may be the worst defense. They don't stop anybody. The New York Giants, got nothing against Washington at home and goes into Dallas. It was a perfect motivational spot for the Giants, and we're glad they covered the spread. I was sitting there going, oh, we got this game, and then all of a sudden I started doing the math going, wait a minute. If they score here and then they're up by 3, if this game goes overtime, oh yeah, our 5.5 could still go down to a 6-point overtime loss, Unfortunately, the overtime ended up to be, 3. I can't take the defense here on the road. And so that puts me on the reason the line is where it is because the Cowboys still have the public, running after them and thinking they're Dallas and, doesn't Michael Irvin still play for them, and so it's that kind of public America's team that always right now anyway is pumping the line. They don't. The Cowboys a road favorite? No, that's not going to work. The Bears, that doesn't work either. That's the problem. The Bears don't work anywhere. Chicago's won one game since mid-season last year when they allowed Washington the Hail Mary to beat them. They lost 10 in a row after that. Then they won on the last day of the season. They've lost 2 more this year. And they're a 1-point underdog. That's not enough points for me to get excited about taking a Chicago team. But if I needed to pick this game for a bus ticket out of Bakersfield, I'm taking the Chicago Bears.
Who doesn't want a bus ticket out of Bakersfield? Good Lord. All right. I'm going to let you pick a game. I usually try to pick a few and try to pick your brain a little bit. But I think we've gotten some good ones so far. So far, we've gotten the Cardinals. We've gotten the Titans. I like the Browns. I know you said you wouldn't talk me off of it, but that's not necessarily one you're looking at. What is another one you're looking at?
Yeah, I actually have to look. We've talked about some good ones here. I'm looking.
Yeah, we hit a couple good ones already. And by the way, for those that are wondering, we don't coordinate this. I don't ask him what games he wants to get into, or hey, let me set you up. I just talk about games that I like to talk about, and that shows you that we are of a like mind a lot of times. Not all the time, but a lot of times the way we think about the games motivationally and yards per play and stats get involved, but then you got to come. So there's a lot of times I'll pick a game, and I kind of figured Dennis might be on this. I actually thought he'd be on the Browns. I thought that'd be a perfect spot, but we did get the the Titans and the Cardinals. Not that everybody's going to be happy to hear that, but hey, that's what you come here for. You come here for the hard truths. Not we don't got pom-poms on this show. We're trying to pick winners on this show is what we're trying to do. All right, go ahead. We got one more game?
Yeah, well, a pretty big game. We've got the Rams going into Philadelphia.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm looking at this game. I'm not sure it's going to be a play for us, but I guarantee if it is a play for us, we'll be on the Rams side in this contest. We've got a situation where as long as they stay healthy, they're thin, in the backup, but their starting lineup is as good as anybody's. And as long as Stafford stays healthy, this is a real good football team. And Kevin always, points out to me that he thinks Sean McVay is the best coach in football. I know there's a lot of other conversations which says if you look at what McVay's done, this is the best coach in football. He took a team that started 1-4 last year and was the only coach ever to lead a team then to a division title, with after a 1-4 start. So with that said, now you take the Rams, who lost to the Eagles in last year's playoffs in Philadelphia, and you got Philadelphia coming off the win against Kansas City. You got to question how good of a win that was. I mean, Kansas City may be really down more notches than we think. And on the other side, and if Taylor Swift's boyfriend didn't drop the play at the goal line,
Travis Kelce not only dropped it, ended up being a pick.
It ends up going the other way and leading to a touchdown going the other way eventually. So with that said, I like the Rams in this spot. And while people are betting on the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles, the line went from 3.5 to 3. And that's always an indicator to me, like somebody smart is taking the Rams in this spot. I hope I can be as smart as them. I'm looking at the Rams here. We look at the Eagles. They opened against the Cowboys. I don't care that they lost that point spread in a 4-point win. They had the Cowboys in front of them all night. The fact that the game ended close on the point spread was not indicative of the Eagles are going to win this game. They got the game in front of them, And last week it was a competitive game against the Chiefs. I don't know how good the Eagles are. They look real good to me, but they haven't proved it to me on the field. They're 2-0.
Yeah.
The Rams are pretty impressive, and they're 2-0 too. So I like the Rams in this spot.
Yeah, I'm looking right now to see Eagles 3 -1/4, 3 -1/4, Rams 3.5 -20. So it looks like it's pretty much 3. I'd love to get 3.5 because I thought about that one too. I feel like I would want 3.5, but 3 will still give me a push if it ends up on 3 because Philly's got. I mean, look, give Philly all the credit in the world. Their offensive line and defensive line are so good, but you got a quarterback right now. It's having problems throwing the ball down the field, and you're winning. So I don't blame them, but to expect they're going to get any margin away from the Rams by opening up the offense, they just haven't shown that over the last 2 games. I think this is going to be a tight game, and the Rams are always going to have a chance to get back in it. And if you're going to have a chance to get back in it, even if you're down, I like my chances with their offensive weapons. So I'm with you on that. I like the Rams on that one.
Very good. Very good.
So I think we got for those that are watching, we got the Rams, we got Tennessee, and we got possibly the Cardinals. We got the Cardinals. And then I like the Browns.
Definitely
the Cardinals.
Definitely. I understand it's resistance on your part, Tom, but tell me. I'm telling you, definitely.
I have no resistance. I don't mind. Look, I don't mind betting against the 49ers. I'd like to see the 49ers win. I always tell people I'm a fan of the 49ers in as much as I know people that work for the organization. I want to see them do well. I want to see them have success. I've followed the Niners for 20 years now since I've been doing the radio show, maybe longer. I'm not going to say I'm a dyed-in-the-wool fan like a lot of these fans are. They grew up with the Niners, went to Kezar, went to the Stick. I'm not. So I'd be lying if I said I was. But I like to see them win. But don't think for a second I like green more than I like red and gold. So, You know,
it's so
if I could
interesting.
win,
Sometimes, I mean, I grew up a 49ers fan too. I slept in the parking lot to get
yeah,
tickets to the championship game and at the last game at Keysar when we lost to the Cowboys 17-10. I grew up a 49ers fan and went to a lot of games. And sometimes I'll sit there and it's not a pick for us, and it's a Monday night game or Thursday night game, and I'll go, oh well, I'll bet on I'll bet on the Rams, and then if the 49ers win, I'll be happy anyway. No, it never happens that way. Never. There is no solace after the game. If you don't win the money, you're not happy. I have never said, oh, okay, well, at least the Niners won. No, I just lost $100 for nothing. That matters more to me.
My buddy does that all the time. Huge Boston Red Sox fan. My buddy Todd, huge Boston Red. Watches every game that he can. And he goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to bet against the Red Sox. That means if the Red Sox win, I'll be happy. Or if I win money, I'll be happy. And I'm like, I can't comprehend what you're talking about.
It doesn't happen
right
in
now.
real life.
Because if I bet on something,
sounds like a good
I want to
idea.
win the bet. I want to win the bet. And I don't want to root against my team that I go, it's so twisted. I can't, it doesn't compute in my head.
We were at a family Thanksgiving up at Pam's sister's house with her husband 20 years ago. It was the game that the Cowboys were playing, and the guy hit the ball in the end zone at the end and all that. And Donna, Pam's sister, said, I don't know why you watch this football. I'm not that interested. And I said, really? Okay, I just put $20 on the Cowboys for you. Now what do you think? She was glued to the set for the rest of the day. There's $20. You follow your money. That's what makes it exciting for you.
I always tell people, you want to know about the Tampa Bay Lightning? Bet $100 on them every game. You'll know about the third line. You'll know about the blue line. You know about the backup goaltender. I go, that's the way.
Put a little skin in the game.
Absolutely. Dennis Ranahan, everybody. Pigsfootball.com. Go to the site, check it out, and we will talk to you again. Have a great weekend. Hopefully, you're off to a great start. Hopefully, continue rolling, and we'll talk to you again next Friday, Dennis.
Tom, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate it.